Question number 3, how did your production skills develop throughout this project? First off, we're going to divide this into 3 sections. That is the pre-production, production, and the post-production. So first off, in the pre-production, we have research, IT skills, storyboard, animatic, casting, 25-word pitch, focus group / meetings, synopsis. First off, we did intensive research and planning. Again, reference to Hannibal and the other films where we got inspiration and ideas for our story plot. And since I was the main editor of the film opening, for me mostly I had to do research on editing tutorials related to VFX, color grading, etc. Then we also selected an actor who looked older than his age and could act, since not everyone is willing to play a cannibal. We did have a little bit difficulty finding an actor, but we managed to find one. His name is Zahid Iqbal, and he's our senior in our school, and he had some acting experience, so it was actually helpful for us. And also he met the requirements for our main character to be able to play him. So a plus point was that he also had done previous media projects with the seniors who study media, so it was actually helpful since he was very cooperative, and it made our shooting much easier for us. And we got the sense of carefully choosing a good actor that matched the requirements and as well as the pace of your working style. So yeah, and then I helped refine the storyboard that our writer roughly made. So since I'm good at arts, I refined the storyboard. I have the pictures here with me. This is the animatic. You could see the scene by scene shots that I did. You could also check it out on my blog. So this is the pictures, like the scenes that I refined and able to capture our writer's vision, since she had a bit of a hard time capturing certain scenes that I helped out with. Then we also had proper meetings for discussion related to our film and try to coordinate. We had multiple meetings, and we also, since the main thing was learning the teamwork here, because without coordination and cooperation, our film opening would have been a flop. So yes, it was it was a good experience. It wasn't a bad experience. It was good, because obviously when you go pursue film making, obviously you have to work with a lot of groups of people, and they're of different temperaments and stuff like that. So it's a good experience beforehand of handling people, with like how to handle with people, and you know, and do your work. So that's the main thing. And then I also helped proofread our 25-word pitch and synopsis. As you can see in my blog that this was the final version of 25-word pitch that got approved by our media teacher. In Eddington, 14 teenagers have mysteriously vanished. The police have little lead on their whereabouts, but one man has the whole bloody truth to himself. So this is a 25-word pitch that I proofread and then got approved, which was made by Kulsum and Sarah, my group mates. And then I'll back and also show you the synopsis. Yes, here it is. I also helped this one all out here since I have some writing experience. The movie revolves around Robert, who uses his cunning and deceitful ways to hide a secret that could get him into trouble. Robert has managed to get away with quenching his thirst for human flesh till now, but he messed with the wrong family this time by killing and devouring their only daughter. Robert has started a war with a family that will stop at nothing to find out where their daughter Shayla went and to bring justice to her. So this is the synopsis. And then I also designed the missing poster by using Photoshop from scratch due to I had editing experience. Before, like I said in question 2, I showed some of the pictures that I did before taking media. So here's the missing person template. So like the Shayla Gordon, and then later on used the picture. So yeah. And then during now we did the pre-production. So we're going to discuss the production, the camera work, the Foley sound, the microphone usage, basically the Foley sound again, the prop, like again the missing person poster designing that is covered. So in the camera work, me and Tuba were the main cameraman who took half of the shots. Like I took the half of the shots of the film opening, she took the half, and then we made adjustments by like alternating the storyboard scenes, but it was still the outline of our film. We didn't like strictly followed our storyboard, but it was still the base for us to construct our film opening, basically a starting point for us, basically. Then also helped a little bit with my friends Sarah and Kulsum, who are all again my group members, with recording the sounds. Bird learned a lot and used the mic for it to record it on one of our DSLRs. Since he used 2 DSLRs, one was for recording the whole film, and the other was used to record the sounds. That Sarah and Kulsum were the main Foley artist. Then the next point was that again this would be the post-production. We're done with this, so we're gonna do post-production using softwares Premiere Pro CC, Photoshop CC, and After Effects. Again, being the main editor, color grading, transition, sounds, VFX, designing, production house name and logo, etc. So the post-production section. Again, as I said, I was the main editor of the film opening, so I used Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and After Effects in this film opening. In Photoshop, again, I designed the missing person poster, as well as the Monarch production and the newspaper templates. You could see that this was the few sample of the Monarch production templates that I made, and this was the newspaper template that I later on edited and made. you could see this. Basically there are like multiple drafts, and this was the final version for the font, because most of my group members weren't satisfied with the font, and then we played around and then we finalized this font. You can see this. So, and yeah, then the main editing and sound was done in Premiere Pro, including the color grading, warp stabilization, transitions like crossfade, dip to black, etc. So even though we had the VR lens for the shoot, but there were some shakes, so the VR lens did like help a lot with the stabilization, and then we had to use like literally like a little bit of warp stabilization for some of the scenes that were shaky, because most of it was done handheld. We didn't use a gimbal. And then I made the 3D animation sequence of the newspaper, adding the fake light and camera effect, etc. Like you could see at the end, when ending scene, the newspaper moving, the light shining, and the fake camera that was used to zoom into it and then blackout to reveal the title. There's also in the blog I put the link where I use this tutorial, but I did some personal customization to myself for the newspaper correct sequence. Like I said before, initially I had some experience of editing before taking media studies, and later on moved from Filmora to Adobe Premiere Pro CC and used YouTube as my source of learning editing. That took me less time to quickly grasp, even from my media teacher's lessons on how to edit in Premiere Pro, etc. One of my best traits is that whatever interest I have, where I lie, I quickly grasp that. So that was a good advantage. And the newspaper credit sequence was actually my first VFX work I'd done, which is you could say going to be my setting stone or working on more VFX effects in the future projects. So yes, overall for me, my skills developed a lot over this course of the months that I studied, practiced a lot. It really helped me, because when I look back to my old posts in my blog, and it shows a really such drastic improvement in my editing skills especially, and my camera work. So yeah. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? So basically I made another table again, divided into 3: software, hardware, and online. And it's basically summarizing the overall points, the technologies that I use and integrated. So in software we had Premiere Pro CC, editing the video, Adobe Photoshop CC, making the missing person poster, Monoc production, and newspaper template. And in After Effects, making the credit sequence, Google Chrome for research and planning, VPS presentation for making this presentation, and DB Flashback to record my evaluation questions that I'm currently doing right now. So obviously in Photoshop, like I said before, that what I did was that after making the Monarch production and the newspaper template, in Monarch Productions template, for that I went to Premiere Pro and added the video and added the black and white filter, and even added the sound effects, and then exported that and then import that into my other project, the final project where the main editing was. And then for the newspaper template, what I did was, after taking pictures from online and then masking out the whole thing and editing it from the scratch, adding my like fake this like information and news and ads by myself, to make it more believable. And then I went to After Effects and used the 3D camera motion so for the movements and stuff. And then I added the fake light and the fake camera that was like 18 mm. So yeah, and then I later on exported that and added it to the Premiere Pro project at the end, and then added the sound. And then obviously I'm using the BB Flashback to record my presentation and elaborate, which would be later on edited in the Premiere Pro to cut down some of the extra. Then research was obviously done with the help of Google Chrome, because the internet is the go-to place for researching and looking up the different movies and watching it on YouTube and etc. This presentation was made on a VPS presentation. So that was the software section, and now it's the hardware section. So for the shooting, we used like two Nikon D7500 cameras, and the lenses were a VR lens of 18mm to 14mm. So the difference between a VR lens and a non-VR lens is that the VR lens help because they have an inbuilt stabilization instead of the non-VR lens that don't have the inbuilt stabilization. So it helped a lot. And then for the microphone that we borrowed from the Media Lab, was used for creating and recording songs, and the model was microphone Boya WM1 for foliography. And the video was created on my laptop, which is a Lenovo Flex 2-14 model, which was also the advantage was it was portable to carry anywhere to work on the video, especially bringing it to school and showing it to my group members and making changes and showing it to other people as well. Also, another point was that since the Adobe Premiere Pro softwares and After Effects and Photoshop altogether, they're actually a heavy software, so it actually kept crashing on my laptop. So I had to increase my RAM from 6 RAM to 12 RAM for better performance. And also we used a tripod, which was used sparsely, but in the beginning of the film, that was one of my group members, Kulsum's tripod that we used, and but most of the work was handheld. And also the USB is also used for transferring the film and the presentation work to my media teacher, which is an HP 32 GB. And we used a printer from a local stationery store for the poster printouts, which was part of our props. And the main part in coordination and informing was done via phone to keep each other up to date and informed when we have to shoot, and tell our actor where and when he has to arrive to the shoot, like WhatsApp, SMS, phone calls, etc. So my phone is a Samsung A6 2016 model, and also this is the hardware, and the remaining is the online. So you could see that we use Vimeo and YouTube for posting our video, and Blogspot was used for our behind the scenes on our project and overall progression of our filmmaking skills. And we use Google Drive to upload the video on Blogspot, because obviously it can't post, there is a limitation to posting like large files, because it can't post that really large files, so we have to like post the links but upload it on like Google Drive to get access to that. And also Google Drive was used for downloading our video clips to edit, because obviously if one member of our group shooted certain clips, they would upload it on the Google Drive, and then the other, like for me as the editor who was editing the main who was editing the video, goes to Google Drive and like download it so that I could like edit the video on time. And then the email was also used to send links and important files, etc. Again, we like use Vimeo and YouTube to upload our film opening, and WhatsApp and Instagram is where we shared and promoted our film, including the feedbacks that people messaged us. Again, going back to my blog, we can see as people like gave feedback on YouTube, on WhatsApp, and even on Instagram, etc. So social media was a way we integrated and like collected all our feedbacks. So this was the end of my presentation. Thank you.